What's up? I am back. If you don't know me, I am Carly Mead. I just got married 6 months ago, and I started a bridal coaching business where I guide brides into becoming the best versions of themselves for their wedding day. And today, I just kind of wanted to take some time to explain my bridal story, what I went through leading up to my day, and why it's so important to go into your wedding day fully prepared after sometimes 2 or 3 years of planning, and you want it to be the biggest and the best day of your life. So I guess we'll start with my personal development journey, which started about 2.5 years ago. After Carter, my husband, proposed to me, I was always very healthy as a kid. Healthy, I guess you can say. I was an athlete. I was a gymnast training at a very high level. So I was always like super fit. But I didn't always love the way I looked. I didn't like how bulky I was, and like I was just a little too masculine looking. And I never loved that. And I just didn't think that it was in my cards to like be super feminine and be really like pretty and just be like a pretty girl. So I realized later on that that's not the case, and it's just what my inputs were. So after Carter proposed, I made a commitment to myself. I started getting healthier a little bit before that, but after he proposed, I was like, gosh, like my wedding, I want to look and feel the best I possibly can in my life. Like that's my one day to be a princess and shine and be who I know that I can be. So I decided that I'm gonna just go all in on me and I'm gonna do this. And shortly after he proposed, within like 3 weeks, we had our wedding booked. Like we didn't go around to a million different venues. We had one venue in mind that we really wanted, and that's the one we saw, and that's the one we booked. So we booked it 2 years later. So from the time we got engaged, we had just about 2 years until our wedding. And it was a crazy 2 years. I'm also a business owner on another aspect where I have an embroidery and screen printing company. And at the time, we were just in the process of really trying to grow that as well. And within the wedding planning process, we moved the business to a bigger warehouse, and we went through a lot of changes in that aspect. So handling like running a business and trying to get healthy and trying to dial in the way I wanted to look and feel for my wedding day, it was a lot of work. And it was a lot of trial and error, which is one of the main reasons why I want to help brides be able to do this. One, when they don't have a timeline like 2 years to work with, and they don't have the knowledge and the experience that I have in personal development to be able to do all that. And why should anyone have to go through 2 years of trial and error when I can literally give you the blueprint? You know what I mean? So the headaches that I had to go through to get here to be this healthy, it doesn't have to be that hard. And if I had somebody guiding me that entire time, it could have been a whirlwind of a different process and so much easier and more enjoyable than falling off the rails too many times or just trial and error too many times. So what I did, like I said, I was an athlete my whole life. What I figured out is it's not that I didn't know how to work hard my whole life. I've always worked hard being an athlete. I've always been super dedicated and disciplined, but I never had the right inputs. My inputs are what were holding me back. So, like they say, the right thing at the wrong time is not going to be beneficial. And the wrong thing at the right time can be beneficial if it's at the right time because you learn from it. So that's kind of the way I was able to look at it, is that I was doing all of these right things, but they weren't done correctly, or they weren't done at the right times, or just the way that I was proceeding with these inputs were not beneficial for my health. So, for instance, I was working out every single day of the week, except for Sunday, and training like really, really, really hard. But then on the other side of things, like I wasn't drinking any water. So, I mean, I know that sounds so silly, but it's so true. My whole life, I trained as a high-level athlete, and I didn't drink water. And it sounds so silly to me to say now, because I'm so healthy, and that would never, like, I can't go a day without drinking a gallon of water now. But the fatigue that I would get, and the mental, no mental clarity, and lack of motivation, and just feeling like I was going to pass out all the time, all came down to water. But like, I was training really hard. So the working hard wasn't enough, you know? So also another thing that I was doing was I was eating healthy, and I was getting like these healthy meals from the grocery store. And of course, they're better than like going to McDonald's every day. But what I didn't know about food was that those kind of meals are not healthy. Those like Smart Balance, and I don't even know the names of them anymore, the brands. Like the pre-made meals you just throw in the microwave that are literally in a plastic container with a plastic cover full of like, yeah. That's what I was eating, thinking I was healthy. I realized, and I went down a path with food and learned how almost poisonous our food is here in the US. And pretty much, unless you're making everything from scratch, it has bad stuff in it. So I changed over to like a total whole food diet, where also before that, after the healthy meals, I then started making my own meals, but I wasn't using the clean ingredients. I was putting everything in plastic containers and putting it in the microwave to eat. So still like better, but not beneficial for becoming super healthy. So I was still giving my body things that were highly inflammatory, bad for my mental health, still giving me anxiety, and just not giving me the chance to actually heal from within, to like glow. And it's just crazy to me how important those little things are, because it made such a whirlwind of a difference when I finally made those changes and got myself on a routine that actually worked for me, and how easy it actually is. Because when I was doing all those things and still not feeling well and having severe gut issues, I was just really lost and confused as to why. And I didn't understand what my problem was, and why I couldn't fix these, and why I couldn't feel pretty. And one of the biggest things holding me back all the time was my gut. Not that I had a big gut, not that I was like super overweight, but my gut was always highly inflamed and always causing me severe like cramping and bloatedness literally every single day of my life. Like, I couldn't eat dinner without being hunched over on the couch in pain. And I just thought that there was something wrong. Like, I thought I had to go and be put on medications, and I didn't know. But it was really frustrating. So then once I found my healthy lifestyle, I was literally able to fix every single issue that I ever had in my life. And I fixed all of my gut issues. And now I know when I do have a gut flare up, I know how to handle it and how to bring it back down, which is super important when you're getting ready for your wedding. My chronic headaches that I used to have a headache every single day of my life. I no longer get really any headaches. And when I do, I find the root cause of the headache and go after that instead of covering it with medication. My severe chronic sweating problem, if you knew me as a kid and growing up doing gymnastics, my hands, my feet, my armpits used to sweat profusely 24/7. Like when I say like I couldn't wear anything besides a black shirt because my armpits would just be dripping sweat. Like it was disgusting. And I don't know how I had any friends, and I never thought I'd be able to get married because I was so self-conscious about it. So between the gut, the headaches, the sweating, my acne, oh my gosh, throughout high school I had such bad acne, and I wouldn't wear any makeup because I thought it would make it worse. And looking back, I'm like, wow, like she must have had some good confidence if she was walking around like that with no makeup on. But I cleared all that up. My skin is the best it's ever looked in my life. What else did I fix? I just my overall feeling, my confidence, right? Got rid of my anxiety. My confidence went through the roof. I can go out every day with a smile on my face and know that I feel good and I look good for me and I'm not looking good for anybody else. And the reason that this is so important to be able to do for your wedding day is because, number one, you don't get a second chance. Your wedding day is your one day to truly shine. And it comes and goes like that. Like everyone warns you like it's gonna fly by. It seriously does. And if you don't have your mindset trained to be fully present, if you don't have your body trained to be in a toned state where you're not inflamed, you're not gonna feel confident in yourself. And if you're not doing certain things, you're just not gonna feel good. And then as you're planning your wedding and you're going to your dress fittings and you're doing all these things, you also forget that you're a female and you have a female cycle. And every week of your cycle, every week of your cycle, you're a different woman. Okay? Like, I hate to break it to you, and that's not a bad thing. It's just actually one of the most beautiful things about our bodies, that we can create life. You're a different person every week. So the way that your dress fits this week is going to be different from the way your dress fits next week. If you're not doing the proper things for the phase of your cycle that you're in, to not be retaining water, to not be bloated, to not feel puffy, to not have super oily skin, and to set yourself up to be as, I don't want to say as normal, but to be as normal as possible to look and feel your best on your wedding day. Because unfortunately, if your wedding day falls in your luteal phase, and if you don't know what that is, I will dive into all of that later in the channel. If your wedding falls in your luteal phase and you're planning it 2 years ahead of time, you would never be able to figure this out. You are already at a disadvantage because of how your body is going to be preparing for your period, right? There's certain things you can do to help that. But if you, one, are not even tracking your cycle and you don't know about the phases of your cycle and you don't know how to prepare for that, and you end up having your wedding during that time, you're not going to feel like your best self. You're going to be retaining water. You're gonna feel puffy. And who wants to feel like that on their wedding day? And with everything going on before a wedding, you have your rehearsal dinners, you have your bachelorette weekends, you have your bridal shower. And depending on how close all those are to your actual wedding day, your routines are getting thrown off. If your rehearsal dinner is the night before your wedding, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to be really careful with what you eat there and what you drink at your rehearsal dinner so you don't wake up on your wedding day feeling puffy and bloated and all that stuff. And I would rather not be able to eat everything I want at my rehearsal dinner to then feel better on my wedding day and feel more confident. And I mean, by the end of the night of your wedding, eat whatever the hell you want, because it doesn't matter at that point. Pictures and stuff are done. But it's just so important because honestly, you spend so much money for your wedding. And it's just scary to think like anything with the word wedding tied to it, like the price like quadruples, and I don't understand why, but it just does because they can, I guess. So you're already spending so much money. You spent so much money on the dress or dresses that you're wearing, and all this time preparing for this one day. And sometimes you forget that you are the most important part of that day. You're the reason that everyone's there, you and your almost husband, right? The two of you celebrating your love. It's not about what the dance floor looks like. It's not about the color napkins that you pick. It's not about how many flowers you have. At the end of the day, it's about you. It's about you and your love with your husband. And when the vocal point is on you and you haven't taken the time to make sure that you are taken care of and that you look and feel your best, you're going to look back and regret that. You're going to say, I wish I worked harder, or I wish, I knew something so that I didn't feel like that. I wish that I lived in the moment a little bit more, because that's the other thing. If you don't have your mindset trained to be able to live in the moment, that day is going to just fly right by you without you even realizing it, and you weren't even present that day. You were worried about everything else. You just weren't there. And you can never get that moment back. And that was one thing that Carter and I did on our wedding day, was we said to each other, we're going to remember this day, and we're going to take in every single moment that we can and cherish it and live in the moment. And with all of the work that I did on myself and that he did on himself, because I helped him with that, we really did. And everybody at our wedding felt that. Like, everybody said that they felt the true love between us and how genuine it was. We weren't putting on a show. We had this big, grand, beautiful wedding. We had this beautiful first dance that we had choreographed, and we did it to, we nailed it. But we were so in love doing it. We weren't just putting on a show during our first dance. We loved each other during our first dance. We sang to each other during our first dance. Like, that connection between us, it wasn't about what we looked like to everyone else. It was about us taking on that moment together. And if I didn't do all that work on myself, there's no way that I would have been able to be that present on my wedding day and feel that good and feel that confident. Because let me tell you, I looked and felt the best I've ever looked and felt in my life on my wedding day. I felt like a supermodel. And if I can try and get some pictures up here, like, the way that I used to look, and where I wasn't feminine and I was a little bit too masculine looking and didn't have the self-confidence and didn't think I could be pretty, versus what I looked like, especially in my getting ready photos on my wedding day, I could cry because I never thought that that was possible. And I realized it's not the cards that you're dealt. It's not that you can't be pretty. It's just your inputs. And if you're not taking the time to actually dial in yourself and take care of the inputs that you have every day leading up to your wedding, you're going to regret it. And I hate to bear the bad news for that, but at the end of the day, if you're already spending that much time and money on one freaking day of your life to matter, why are you not also going to spend the time and the money to look and feel your best and be able to take on looking and feeling your best long afterwards? Because the wedding day you can't get back, but guess who's left after your wedding day? You and your husband, okay? Then you have to go on your honeymoon. So if you didn't feel confident on your wedding day, you ain't gonna feel confident on your honeymoon wearing a bathing suit either. So that was just my little spiel for now. A little bit of an intro to why and what my journey looked like. And that was just a little tiny fraction of it. But what it looked like for me leading up to my wedding, and why I cared so much, and why I care so much to now help other girls and women be able to feel just as confident and amazing on their wedding day, because that was truly like the climax of my life so far, you know, because I haven't had kids yet and I haven't done so much in my life, but so far that was the biggest and best day of my entire life. And all I want is for everybody to live and love their wedding day the way that I did. And I just freaking love weddings too. Like I love hearing about weddings. I love working with brides. I just love every second of it. The wedding industry is just, I love it. So that's a little bit of a start. On this channel, I want to really dive into how to wedding prep, what to do, what to look out for, what to change in your inputs, how to read your cycle, what to do at different phases of your cycle, the actual wedding week, what you should be doing, the night before your wedding, what you should be doing, the morning of your wedding, what you should be doing to set yourself up to have the best day ever. And I also have my one-on-one coaching program to help you guys actually get help one-on-one by me, where I can dial in a specific plan for you instead of you guessing. So I'm gonna have all that information down in the description. Follow me on Instagram at Carly Mead, where I share my day-to-day life and I tie everything back to wedding prep. And I post a lot of wedding pictures and stuff from my wedding day. And yes, please like and subscribe, because that would help me tremendously try and grow this channel to get to as many girls as I can, as many beautiful women like you. And I just really want to help women get ready for their wedding day. It's just such a beautiful thing. So that's my spiel for now. I will catch you guys in the next one. If you have anything specific you want me to make a video about, I'm sorry, please leave a comment below and I will try and make a video about that. But yeah, so for now, I will see you guys in the next one.